zeal. That's right. Gotta keep that zeal. Don't stop. Gotta keep that zeal. Won't stop. Gotta keep that zeal for real. Gotta keep that zeal. That's right. Gotta keep that zeal. Don't stop. Gotta keep that zeal. Won't stop. Gotta keep that zeal for real. Gotta keep that zeal. That's right. Gotta keep that zeal. Don't stop. Gotta keep that zeal. Won't stop. Gotta keep that zeal for real. Gotta keep that zeal.
My brothers, they ain't no fraud. Authority, we stay in charge. These scriptures on one accord. You can't run a boulevard, and you just a buster. Don't come close to the army of the Lord, 'cause we the host. We everywhere from coast to coast. We on Shamar, holding post. Gotta keep that seal to the end till Yahweh shall come and I'm on that UFO. You can't serve two masters, you gon' have to lose your life and let it go. From city to city, state to state, we travel, doing the work of the Lord. Loving your brother is long suffering. To me, it ain't hard. The spirit is in me, that's the comforter given to all of the disciples. Me and Officer hopping out at the gun range, shooting off all of the rifles. Protect my nation, it ain't no thing to lay down my life for my friends. Ain't worried about the bands to make a lot of ends. The home of the truth ain't no pretend. America is a wicked empire, that's no lie. I prophesy judgment on this nation until I die. Wake up morning, noon, and night, serving the God of Israel. Keeping the zeal of the Lord, my oath I must fulfill.
Gotta keep that zeal. Don't stop. Gotta keep that zeal. Don't stop. Gotta keep that zeal for real. Gotta keep that zeal. That's right. Gotta keep that zeal. Don't stop. Gotta keep that zeal. Won't stop. Gotta keep that zeal for real. Gotta keep that zeal. That's right. Gotta keep that zeal. Don't stop. Gotta keep that zeal. Won't stop. Gotta keep that zeal for real. Gotta keep that zeal. That's right. Gotta keep that zeal. Don't stop. Gotta keep that zeal. Won't stop. Gotta keep that zeal for real. Gotta keep that zeal.
As I hit the battlefield, just watch me blaze this fire. I stay fresh with my boots lacing this one West attire. Come and ask me about my fringes. I know you see them swinging. Don't be hating on the preach. You see these lies that we changing and explaining how the Christian church has misled our people above all nations, but they'll tell you that we equal. Man, that shit evil. My zeal lit, ain't no stopping it. And all my brothers shooters like Stoyakovich. You poppin' shit will fall on you. We ain't gon' hesitate. Me and I want y'all. You talking about some heavyweights. We here to set the record straight and speak this knowledge. Cause iron sharpen iron. That's why my sword stay polished. Abolish all this faggotry. It's such a tragedy. Just follow the Lord's laws or you'll become a casualty. No fallacy. These prophecies will get revealed. I'm one West till they bury me. I gotta keep that zeal.
Gotta keep that zeal. Don't stop. Gotta keep that zeal. Don't stop. Gotta keep that zeal for real. Gotta keep that zeal. That's right. Gotta keep that zeal. Don't stop. Gotta keep that zeal. Won't stop. Gotta keep that zeal for real. Gotta keep that zeal. That's right. Gotta keep that zeal. Don't stop. Gotta keep that zeal. Won't stop. Gotta keep that zeal for real. Gotta keep that zeal. That's right. Gotta keep that zeal. Don't stop. Gotta keep that zeal. Won't stop. Gotta keep that zeal for real. Gotta keep that zeal. That's right. Gotta keep that zeal. Don't stop. Gotta keep that zeal. Won't stop. Gotta keep that zeal for real. Gotta keep that zeal. That's right. Gotta keep that zeal. Don't stop. Gotta keep that zeal. Won't stop. Gotta keep that zeal for real. Gotta keep that zeal. That's right. Gotta keep that zeal. Don't stop. Gotta keep that zeal. Won't stop. Gotta keep that zeal for real. Gotta keep that zeal. That's right. Gotta keep that zeal. Don't stop. Gotta keep that zeal. Won't stop. Gotta keep that zeal for real. Gotta keep that zeal. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Shalom, Yahweh, Bashim, Yahshua, Brakatham, all the brothers. Shalom, Yahweh, Shemar, Latham, Bashim, Yahweh, shout all the sisters. The Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. It's the Monday night Killeen scripture breakdown class. I mean, we go into the scriptures and all of that. You know what I mean? If you got any questions on or off topic, go ahead and put them in your chat. Or if you watching online, go ahead. Or if you watching in class, you go ahead and raise your hand. Tonight, we're going to talk about how to keep your zeal in these last days, right? And it's so important because, like, if you see what's going on around you, the Most High is turning up the heat the Most High is turning up the heat on our oppressors, man. You see all these, you know what I'm saying, these wars going on overseas. You see all the, you know what I'm saying, what's going on with Israel and Palestine. You see all these things happening. You see all these, you know what I'm saying, you see all these wars and all of that. And you're hearing all these rumors of wars. And in the midst of all of that, your oppressor is turning the heat up on you, Black, Hispanic, and Native American, man. Like you see, again, all these wars, you know what I'm saying? These wars is going on overseas. These wars is going on overseas. It ain't got nothing to do with Black people or Hispanic people. But, you know what I mean? Every time we look up, these people are attacking us. These people are slandering us. These people are blaming us for these things. And, you know what I mean? If you're not, you know what I mean, in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, where, you know what I mean, since 1969, the men that laid this foundation for the entire world have been prophesying what's going on right now. If you're not in here where these brothers been prophesying these things, then, you know what I mean, you're not going to understand why we're to blame. Where they looking at us, why they blaming their political figures, their you know what I mean, their refugees, their victims of these violent attacks overseas and all of that. They blaming us. They saying it's Black people in America. Like you know what I mean, the general's been bringing out these mighty officers and captains and all that, been bringing out or been talking about and showing them, been revealing and exposing to the world, right? But they're attacking us. They're saying it's Black people in America's fault. They're attacking our schools, attacking our places of business and things like that. But if you're not in this school where these brothers been prophesying exactly what you're seeing right now since 1969, then you're not going to understand why they're blaming us, because they're portraying for the longest, you know what I'm saying, our oppressor has always been known for stealing our culture, ripping our culture from us, our culture and identity from Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and putting on the culture themselves. Right? And that's why they blaming you, Black man, Hispanic man, and Native American man, because the very culture that they portraying, you know what I mean, is your culture. You are the true chosen people of the Most High God. You are the real Israelites, the lost 12 tribes of Israel. That's you, Black man, Hispanic man, and Native American man. And with that being said, you know what I mean, you see all these things going on. Right now is the time to lock in. Like really you know what I mean, really dive into the truth and really, you know what I mean, really serve the Lord with all sincerity, with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. Because, you know what I mean, we don't have, you know what I mean, all these things that you see going on, these are all letting you know what time it is. And before you know it, you know what I mean, if you waste too much time, if you take too much time, you know what I mean, if you take your time with it, what you're going to find is we're going to be in the midst of World War III, and you're going to find that we Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are not prepared. We are not prepared. We are not only are we not prepared, but we indulging in our oppressors' culture and their identity and their customs. Like right now, we got, you know what I mean, like we keep on saying, you know what I mean, you know what I'm saying, World War III is turning up, and America, where Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans want to call home and try to claim their identity and try to claim their citizenship, right? America is being roped into this thing. You know what I mean? They're sending funds over there. They're sending billions of dollars over to, you know what I mean, their allies over there. And pretty soon you're going to find that we're going to be knee deep in this thing. So right now it's time for us to realize as Black people that we have nothing to do with this war as far as like taking a side. You know what I mean? You got Mark Stoudemire and all these celebrities and all these, you know what I'm saying, public figures trying to convince Black people, as they always do, to have some sort of empathy for a nation that's never had empathy for us, you know what I mean, or a nation or of a situation that really ain't got nothing to do with black people aside from we the chosen, you know what I'm saying? We the real Jews and we the real Israelites. But aside from that, this war, this conflict ain't got nothing to do with us. But they always want us to pick a side and choose a side when it comes to black people, ain't nobody choosing a side. Ain't nobody choosing our side when it comes to what we go through as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in this world. And when these our oppressors, these other nations come up against us and they oppress us and they take crafty counsel against us, nobody's choosing our side, black man, Hispanic man, and Native American man. So what we got to do is really lock in, you know what I mean? Since 1969, since 1969, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge has been telling our brothers, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to come together and separate from this nation. And now more than ever, we're separate from this world. And now more than ever is the time to actually lock in. So if you're in the truth, you know what I mean? If you call yourself in the truth, if you're in the ISUPK, it's time for you to really lock in and you know what I mean, put your culture all the way on. Put your culture and identity all the way on, black man, Hispanic man, Native American man, woman, and child. And if you're not in the ISUPK, it's time for you to finally, you know what I'm saying, stop straddling the fence or stop playing around and actually come in this thing and actually see what's going on. And the longer we wait, it's only going to get later and later. We're going to get Revelations chapter 3, verse 15, just so I could show you exactly what we've been talking about all this time. It's the book of Revelation chapter 15, or chapter 3, verse 15. Right? I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. See, this is talking about us. These words are in red. So this is Christ talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Exactly what we just described just now. That, you know what I mean, we kind of, you know what I mean, anytime you talk to a black, Hispanic, or Native American man, we all woke. You know what I mean? You talk to any black man or Hispanic man or Native American, they woke. You know what I'm saying? Running down our history, running down how all the ways our oppressors, the devil the Bible speaks of. Even though, you know what I'm saying, the ICBK is the only one with the courage to call your oppressor, you know what I'm saying, out on all his crimes. But you know what I mean, our black, Hispanic, and Native American brothers and sisters, we not no stranger, we not oblivious to how our oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of, and how they have been you know what I mean, taking advantage, to say the least, of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans all over the world. You know what I mean? You ask any brother, they gonna tell you the exact same thing. Now, every time we try to get up high, you know what I mean, we try to come together, so-called, and try to get up high in this society, they tear us down, you know what I mean? And how they ain't never gave us a damn thing. They ain't gave us reparations or nothing for all the pain and suffering that they cause blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You know what I mean? You ask any brother or sister, and they gonna tell you exactly that. But then we get to the action part of it. Like, all right, well, let's not, you know what I'm saying? Same with, you know what I'm saying? We get to the action part about it, or we get to the actual, you know what I'm saying, the real life part about it. Like right now, you know what I mean? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, as woke as we like to call ourselves, we getting prepared for Thanksgiving. And we just got finished celebrating Halloween. And right after that, we about to get ready to celebrate Christmas. And then we about to be preparing for the New Year's. Like, as woke as we like to call ourselves, we still immersed in this society and celebrating all these wicked holidays with our oppressor. And a lot of these things are in direct opposition to black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, especially the one coming up, Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? Direct opposition to black people and Hispanics and Native Americans. Yet we gonna all sit around that table, eat that turkey, and say it's for the children. You know what I mean? Halloween, we talking about some stranger danger, and I can't tell you how many Amber Alert posts that I done seen all this year, Every time I look on the internet, this girl is missing, this young boy is missing. Help find my daughter, help find my nephew, help find my son, right? But then Halloween come around and we walking our nephew and daughter and son and niece and all of that right on to the oppressor's door, asking for, you know what I'm saying, candy and dressing up as some demon, right? So it's like we talk about how woke we are, you know what I mean? But we over here, like anytime our oppressor throws out bread and circus for us to consume and be distracted by, we jump right on it. And then right after that, we go right back to talking about how woke we are. When in reality, we are fast asleep, right? And that's what this is talking about. You know what I mean? Like we hot and we cold. You know what I'm saying? 1 second we hot. You know what I'm saying? Talking about, yeah, we black owned, black business, Black Lives Matter, black unity, black and brown unity, Black Lives Matter, all of that. We marching in the streets and we zealous. But then the next second, as soon as they put that turkey on that table, we turn into house kittens. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what Christ is talking about right now. It say, I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. We are neither cold nor hot. I would thou were cold or hot. So he's saying he would rather us just be cold or hot. Either you in or out. Either you woke or you not. Either you know what I'm saying? Either you see and understand the plight of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and you willing to do something about it and gather together like the Most High commanded us to, or you're not. Or you just want to be a slave, you know what I mean, till this kingdom falls. Because at the end of the day, whether you choose to come in the truth or not, whether you choose to gather together with your brothers, O nation not desire, or not, you know what I mean, this kingdom is falling. This kingdom is falling. So that's, Christ is saying he'd rather us be cold or hot. So that, you know what I mean, because it's time to get down to business. And anybody, like we brought out last week, you know what I mean? Anybody found with them, anybody found with these nations, you know what I mean, enjoying their, you know what I'm saying, their kingdom and indulging in their ways of life and their holidays and their customs, their vain customs. Anybody found with them is going to be thrust through with them. When this kingdom falls, they're going to be destroyed with them. And that's our people included. Verse 16. So then, because thou art lukewarm, and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. And that's exactly what I just talked about. You know what I'm saying? That, you know what I mean, once it's go time, you know what I mean, and you ain't chose a side, you ain't chose your people over your oppressor, you ain't chose the Most High's feast days and high holy days and holy convocations over your oppressor's vain customs, you ain't chose your family over your oppressor's family, then the Lord's going to make the decision for you. No sweat. He's going to spew you out of his mouth, man. And in these last days, man, in these last days, you want to lock in, man. You want to lock in so that you don't have to be on the other end of that, man. Like we said, you know what I'm saying? Like we keep saying, like the scriptures say that Esau is the end of the world. And Jacob is the beginning that follows, meaning Esau's kingdom is falling, and you see it all over the news. You see it, you know what I'm saying? We've been looking at it fall hard for the past, you know what I mean, 3-4 years just alone. You know what I mean? You got this plague, you know what I'm saying, this plague, COVID-19 hitting, you know what I'm saying, eliminating damn near a third of the population, you know what I mean, in America. You got, you know what I'm saying, things shutting down on and off constantly. You got the BRICS Alliance attacking the American dollar. You know what I mean? And now you got these wars and rumors of wars starting all over the damn place. And America, you know what I'm saying, funding their allies as if that's not going to get back to America. I mean, you see all these things happening. It's time for us to wake up and actually step into our culture full-fledged and stop playing with it. You know what I mean? So how do we do that? You know what I mean? So how do we do that? Like, how do we keep that zeal? How do we keep that zeal? And again, and another thing, like, if you ain't got no zeal, you know what I mean? If you in the truth and you actually in the truth, you know what I mean, or you actually standing in these walls, it's time for us who's actually in the ISUPK under commanding General Yohana in the one and only body of Christ. You know what I mean? Like it says in Ephesians, if you actually in here in this one body, right? It's time for us to, you know what I mean, actually really step into it. You know what I mean? Really step into it and really, you know what I mean? We actually, you know what I'm saying? These brothers in here, these brothers and sisters in here, you know what I mean? We you know what I'm saying, under commanding General Yohana, we fully immersed in our culture, and we've been, you know what I'm saying, like the men above us has taught us to, you know what I mean? We one body, you know what I mean? But if when you in here, brothers and sisters, we got to really decide where we going to stand with the Lord, man. And where we going to stand with this truth. And whether we going, you know what I'm saying, we got to really check ourselves now more than ever. Right? And if you're not behind these walls, then, you know what I'm saying, if you ain't got no zeal to serve the Lord in deed and in truth in this one body, then it's high time to, you know what I'm saying, it's high time to actually, you know what I'm saying, find some zeal. If you ain't got no zeal, you need to find some and quick, because time is winding up. You know what I mean? So how do we maintain that zeal? How do we find that zeal? Right? That's the, you know what I mean, that's the question we all should be asking ourselves. If we in these ranks serving the Lord, you know what I mean, and putting in this brick, you know what I'm saying, doing this strenuous work, you know what I mean, how do we maintain that zeal? And if you not, then how do we find that zeal? Right? Well, the answer is real simple. Let's get 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 3 right quick. All right? And the answer is real simple. You know what I mean? I see all the time, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we get so frustrated because we in this condition, you know what I mean, under this wicked oppressor. No matter how we march and say we shall overcome, no matter how we try to join ourselves to this society, we never quite fit in, and they keep dragging us down. You know what I'm saying? All these nations around us, they constantly dragging us down and abusing us every time we think things is okay, and every time we think that things have changed. Then it's how long we been saying, you know what I mean, how long we been saying slavery been over? It's it's the 60s, man. It's slavery been over. We ain't in slavery no more. It's the 70s. We ain't slaves no more. We free. We's free. Oh, it's the 80s. We's free and still getting cut down. Oh, it's the 2000s. It's 2020. It's 2010. It's 2012. It's 2020, 2021, 2022. We's free. Like, how long we gonna keep saying that and then watching them show us that we not free? You know what I mean? So like you. You see, we're gonna get 2 Corinthians chapter 10. We'll start at verse 3. But we say these things because we obviously see, you know what I mean, that we not free up in here. We not free in this earth under our oppressor. And this oppressor is a wicked bastard. And no matter how we think that we free, and no matter how we think that, you know what I mean, it's 2023 and we not, you know what I mean, everybody bleed the same blood, you know what I mean, they show us that we are different. They show us every time on a large scale that we are not them, and we cannot ever be them, and we cannot ever join with them peacefully. We cannot, and they will never accept us peacefully into their society unless we are on the absolute very bottom. Well, let's get this, man, because this is gonna give blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the, you know what I mean, the blueprint of how you can, you know what I mean, how we can come together, how we can come together in this one body and serve the Lord, how we can get out of this hell, right? and separate ourselves from the destruction that's coming to this wicked place, man. Because this punishment is reserved for our oppressor from the Most High. Well, we not, you know what I'm saying? But anybody, like we said earlier, anybody who's found with your oppressor join hand in hand, you know what I mean? They're going to be punished with them. They're going to be thrust through with your oppressor. All right. But this is 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3. All right. So luck you. It says, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. All right. So this is where blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, this is what blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans got to understand. Like, this war that we fighting in America, it is not a carnal war. It is not a war of the flesh. And we're going to read a little bit more and understand what these scriptures mean by that. It says, though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. Right, verse 4, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. See, what we got to understand is America is a stronghold, and it is built on the lies and the hypocrisy that they teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to keep us slaves, man. So what we gotta do, like, I know blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we always talking about, you know what I mean, these chains, you know what I'm saying? They took the physical chains off, but they replaced it with mental chains. Well, this is how we break these mental chains right here. You know what I'm saying? This blueprint is right here. And I always hear blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans talking, you know what I'm saying, frustrated about how, you know what I'm saying, our oppressor is dealing with us and we can't never get out of this condition. And, you know what I'm saying, wondering where the Most High is in all this and what's the answer. And if, you know what I'm saying, the Most High could come, you know what I'm saying, just talk to us, you know what I'm saying, and give us the answer, because we so confused. The answer is right here, and it's been right here for so long. But this is the, you know what I'm saying, this is the one. This is, you know what I'm saying, we don't look to these scriptures for the answers, but we gonna blacks, you know what I'm saying, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge been teaching blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that the answers to all our questions, to all our big questions that we got, that we don't understand about life and about the condition that we in, is right here. All right. What it says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. Verse 5, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God. Right. So that's how we're going to fight this war, man. We're not going to pick up no weapons, and, you know what I'm saying, even though, you know what I'm saying, ain't nothing wrong with having no weapon if you know what I'm saying, if you legally allowed to, if you able to, go ahead and get you some weapons. But that's not how we going to win this war against our oppressor. That's not how we going to get out of this hell. We're going to get out of this hell through doing what the Most High said, man. It says, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. See, this is what we got to understand, black man, Hispanic man, and Native American man. See, what we got to do to fight this war is to cast down what we think, the imagination that we got in our head, the things that we think are right, the things that we think are good, the things that, you know what I'm saying, things like these wicked holidays, celebrating Thanksgiving and Halloween and Christmas because we think it's for the children, and, you know what I mean, eating whatever we want and not following the Most High's dietary law because we think it don't matter. Or, you know what I'm saying, getting high out our minds, getting drunk out of our minds, you know what I'm saying, sleeping with all these different nations, even though, you know what I mean, they used to abuse us sexually. Now we give ourselves over to them willingly. All those things that we think are, you know what I'm saying, small things, those are the reasons why we're in this condition today. And now we ended up in this condition in the first place. So what we got to do is cast down these imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. That's all the things that were just named a second ago. You know what I'm saying? All these wicked holidays, all these, you know what I'm saying, these all these abominable foods that are unclean to us. You know what I mean? All these different things, right? Because all these things exalt themselves against the knowledge of God. The Most High said we were never to choose our oppressor's ways. But, you know what I'm saying, our oppressor put these things on us and we just eat it up. That's what exalts itself against the knowledge of God, because the Most High knew, you know what I'm saying, like it says in Deuteronomy chapter 7, he said that, you know what I'm saying, if we were to make marriages with these people, if we were to, you know what I'm saying, join with these people and not separate from them, then we would start to, you know what I'm saying, serve their gods, and our hearts would be far from the Most High. So the Most High been told us that since the beginning, and he knew what was going to happen. And bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. See, everything that we think, we have to revamp what we think and get rid of what we think, you know what I mean, and start thinking about what the Most High wants and what Christ, you know what I'm saying, laid down. We got to start thinking about that and being obedient to that. Let's see. And having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. See, what we got to understand as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans is that we are, you know what I mean, we are a people who you know what I'm saying, we are a nation of people who made a covenant with the Most High. And we broke that covenant. The Most High said, if we do these things, we follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, and do the things that he commanded us to do, then he will set us on high above all nations of the earth. But if we don't follow the Most High and his laws, statutes, and commandments and do what he told us to do, all those things, then we're going to experience all these curses. All right. So that's exactly what happened. So, you know what I'm saying, your Christian pastor, your Christian church and these Christian Israelite groups, they want to say grace is forever. You know what I'm saying? You got grace, and because you got grace, you know what I mean? You could eat all these abominable things. You could sleep with all these nations. You can celebrate these wicked holidays. And the Most High, you know what I mean? That's what Christ died for. That's a lie. That is a lie. And the truth is we have a warrant. You know what I mean? Because we broke this covenant with the Most High, and therefore we are owed these punishments that are coming to us. So what we got to do is, like it said in verse 6 in 2 Corinthians chapter 10, we have to have a readiness to revenge all disobedience. Meaning all those times, you know what I'm saying, all those years we were celebrating Christmas. All those times we were celebrating Christmas and Thanksgiving, and all them times we thought we was Buddhist and Hindu and thought we was Kemet worshiping, you know what I'm saying, Africa and all those things. For all those times we was, you know what I mean, we was robbing one another and, you know, you name it, all the wicked things that we do in this earth. All the years we was getting high and, you know what I mean, this, that, and the third. All those years, you know what I mean, that our family structure has been destroyed and removed far from us to where we don't even want to be a family no more. All those things, we have to have a readiness to revenge all that disobedience, man, and come back to the Most High, man, because the chance to is winding up. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna ask again. How do we get that zeal, man? How do we get that zeal if we don't got it? If we don't have no zeal to serve the Lord, if we just out here, you know what I'm saying, running reckless and living riotously, right? How do we get that zeal? And if we up in here, you know what I mean, if you got that oath, you know what I'm saying, you made that oath with the Most High, you got that oil poured on your head, right? Whether you a sister or a brother, you know what I mean? How do you keep that zeal? Well, like it said in 2 Corinthians, it's obedience, man. Because that's what got us in this situation in the first place was disobedience. That's what got us in this situation. So what we got to do is come back to the Most High, be obedient, and have a readiness to avenge. You know what I'm saying? Put down our pride and, you know what I'm saying, realize we've been, you know what I'm saying, we ain't been living like the Most High, you know what I'm saying, instructed us to. And that's why we suffering these curses. And with that being said, we need to come back to follow these laws, statutes, and commandments so that we can undo these curses. You know what I mean? Black, Hispanic, and Native American people always talking about, we always talking about undoing generational curses. Well, this is how we do it. This is how we undo generational curses, man. This is exactly what we do, man. We follow these laws, statutes, and commandments with a readiness to revenge all the disobedience, man. And that's what's so wicked. That's what's so wicked, if I could sidebar for a second. That's what's so wicked about this Christian church, man. So wicked about this Christian church and these all these different, you know what I mean, all these different things that we like to give ourselves and submit ourselves to, because they teach us that, you know what I mean, they teach that you know what I'm saying, you under grace and that the law is done away with, and that they don't teach you that, you know what I mean, they fill us with so much pride, man. They fill us with so much pride when at the end of the day we are, you know what I mean, guilty. We are a guilty people from not following these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. And that's why we under these curses, man. And that's what's so wicked about these damn Christian pastors, man, who would never, you know what I'm saying, they just pawns for your oppressor to remain in rulership and keep us docile and destroyed, man, because they supposed to be our leaders teaching us these things coming out the Bible. See, this is so unfamiliar to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, what we read in the Bible. It's so familiar when the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, you know what I mean, we read these things in class, and we go to camp and read these things, and we teach these to our people. You know what I mean? It's so unfamiliar because your Christian pastor, all these years, they had this Bible, the 1611 King James Bible, sitting in they churches and they houses. You know what I mean? Your granny, your auntie, your uncle had this Bible on their mantelpiece, on their table, you know what I mean, collecting dust. And this whole time we ain't been taught how to get out of this hell, man. You know what I mean? What we did to get in this hell in this first place. And what's so wicked is we teach each other, you know what I'm saying, for the longest time, we teach each other that we not even in hell, man. We convince each other, meaning our leaders, you know what I mean, our so-called leaders, you know what I mean, they've been teaching us that we ain't even in hell. And that we need to, for us to get some sort of heaven on this earth, that we need to join to our oppressor. And, you know what I'm saying, all these different ways, join their military, join their police force, join their government systems, and, you know what I'm saying, join their politics, and get out there and vote. You know what I mean? That's what they tell you to do, but that's not out of this Bible. But the only way we're going to get out of this condition is to bring all our thoughts, you know what I'm saying, bring all our thoughts into captivity unto what Christ taught us, coming from the Most High, these laws, statutes, and commandments. So whatever you thinking, you know what I mean, whatever you think is right, you know what I mean, bring that into what, or get rid of that and bring that into what the Most High said. Bring your mind to what the Most High said and lock in onto that, man, because that's the only salvation. That's the only hope of salvation that we got, black man, Hispanic man, Native American man. It don't matter how many businesses you own, no matter how many, you know what I mean, no matter how you support Palestine or Israel, no matter how you support Ukraine or Taiwan or Ukraine or Russia, you know what I mean, no matter how you try to, you know what I mean, no matter where you run, you try to get you a passport and go to Africa, go to Europe, go to, you know what I mean, wherever you want to go. no matter what, you know what I mean, we are surrounded by our oppressor, man. We are surrounded by our oppressor. And the only way for us to get out of this hell, you know what I mean, not just get some sort of oasis, not just, you know what I mean, get a little bit of rest in this hell, but to get out of hell is to to get back to our culture, right? Let's get Matthew, the 18th chapter right quick. So like we just said, the only way for us to get out of this hell is obedience, man. And we have to follow these instructions. We have to follow these instructions, man, to a T, and make sure our brotherhood is intact. And that's what's going to keep our zeal intact. You know what I mean? Because, again, as the Most High is turning up the heat on our oppressor, you know what I mean? Your oppressor is turning up the heat on us. Your oppressor is, you know what I'm saying? Because even though they got an enemy in their face right now with bombs and nukes and machetes and rifles, and they in the midst of warfare, but they still looking at you, and because they want to make sure, you know what I mean, you never rise up against them, against your oppressor, and you know what I mean, so that you could stay a slave forever, man. So in this whole time, you know what I mean, in these times, you know what I mean, as the Most High is turning up the heat on them, they're turning up the heat on us. You know what I mean? Trying to keep us in our condition. So what's gonna keep us together? You know what I mean? What's gonna keep us you know what I mean? What's gonna keep us together is us gathering together and us keeping this brotherhood intact. What's gonna keep our zeal lit in these end times, which is gonna be so important, man. Because it's so easy right now, seeing what's going on. It's gonna be so easy for us to, you know what I mean, to fall out the truth, to lose, you know what I mean, to lose faith, for lack of a better word. You know what I mean? I know the Christian church then turn that word into some you know what I mean, some candy cane, cotton candy stuff. But you know what I mean, right now, like, it's now more than ever, we need to come together and actually, you know what I mean, keep our zeal lit, keep our, you know what I'm saying, keep faith that we not going to be in this condition forever. But faith is, you know what I'm saying, faith is an action. Faith is what you do, you know what I mean? And it's obedience, right? So let's get start at verse 3. This book of Matthew chapter 18, verse 3. And said, verily I say unto you, and these are the words of Christ again, right? Except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Now, we already said that Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob, which is blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, is the beginning that followeth. Meaning, once your oppressor's kingdom is fallen, and you want it to fall, because blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are next up to rule this earth, and it's not going to ever be left to another people again, right? But for us, read it again. Verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. So the kingdom of heaven is blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans ruling in the earth, man. Like it says in Matthew, thy kingdom, in the Lord's Prayer, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Right? The kingdom of heaven is in earth, is going to be on earth. But for us to get to that, we have to become as little children. Now, why is Christ comparing us to children, man? Because when you teach a child, you know what I mean, when you talk to a child, right, you might teach them something. You teach your child their ABCs. They don't come behind you and correct you and tell you what it is. You say A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They don't come behind you and be like, oh, why? And what is, they don't say, well, oh, no, it's not that. It's this, that, and the third. And why you saying, why I got to do this? And why? They don't do that. They just absorb what you telling them. You know what I mean? You got to chastise your child. Even if you got to, you know what I'm saying, give your child a whooping every now and then. You know what I'm saying? They're going to cry and they're going to fall out. But, you know what I mean? They're going to go right back to, you know what I mean? They're going to go right back to, you know what I mean, playing and, you know what I'm saying, just doing what they told. You know what I mean? You get them in shape as a parent, as a father, right? And that's how we got to be, man. Or, you know what I mean? For so long, we done thought we done knew so much better than the Most High. We didn't thought we knew so much better than Commanding General Yohana and what he, you know what I'm saying, and what he's trying to get blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to understand, that we need to gather together. We didn't, you know what I'm saying, we didn't did our own thing for so long, thinking it's cool to get high and thinking it's cool to, you know what I'm saying, you know what I mean, for us to deal with these other nations and try to integrate, and think it's cool to just celebrate these wicked holidays that's rooted in our oppression. You know what I mean? We done thought that for so long, but what we need to do is become his children and do what we told, be obedient. You know what I mean? Verse 4, whosoever thereof shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. You know what I mean? That's the whole point, man. We have to humble ourselves as children, man, and fall, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Learn to follow instructions in decency and in order, man. I mean, if the men above you, you know what I mean, tell you to do something, to tell you to move a certain way, you know what I mean? Just accept that correction, man. Accept that correction, you know what I mean? And move accordingly, man. Trust in the Lord, man. Trust that the men above you, you know what I mean? Trust in the Lord, and that the Lord, you know what I'm saying, set these men above you for a reason, man. Same with our sisters, man. If you got your, you know what I'm saying, your camp leader, your captain, your husband, your brothers around you, man, and they trying to guide you and, you know what I'm saying, in certain avenues, man, follow them orders, follow them instructions, man, without giving all that, you know what I mean, giving all that backlash, man, because right now, it's really, we really ain't got time for that right now. Where we at? Salakia. We're gonna go down we're gonna jump down to verse 18, right? We already, or verse 15. We already familiar with Matthew 18:15 in word, right? In the, you know what I'm saying, in the letter, we already familiar with, you know what I'm saying, what Matthew 18:15 is, you know what I mean, especially if you're in the ISUPK. You know what I mean? We already know how important that is, but this is going to be so imperative in keeping our zeal lit, man, because we going to have to, in these end times, all we going to have is one another. You know what I mean? All we going to have is our family, man. All we going to have is these instructions that the Most High gave us to gather together, man, and follow these laws, statutes, and commandments so that we could become a nation again, man. But the most difficult, you know what I'm saying, the biggest zeal killer of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man, is the lack of brotherhood, man. The lack of brotherhood when you trying to wrestle with your brother, you know what I mean, or your sister, or your husband, or your wife, or your whoever. You know what I mean? You trying to constantly wrestle with one another, and we can't seem to, you know what I'm saying, get eye to eye, right? But the Most High gave us instructions to keep our brotherhood intact, man. And now this is going to be more important than ever. We got verse 15, this book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 15. All right. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. See, what we got to do right now is like what we got to understand is, like, as black people, man, like, our problems start off with little petty issues that could be resolved just by, you know what I mean, following instructions, being obedient, man. And the Most High said, if you got to trespass, if your brother trespass against you, go and tell him his fault between he and them alone. It don't say, you know what I mean, form of opinion about your brother, you know what I mean, write him off as just a lost cause off the rip, or just, you know what I mean, just stop messing with your brother, separate from your brother. It don't say that. It say go to him between he and thee alone. It don't mean go tell your sister, tell your homeboy, tell your homegirl, tell your friend, you know what I mean, tell your cousin about, you know what I mean, these are, you know, how your brother then offended you. He'll probably, your brother or your sister probably don't even know that they offended you. And the whole time, you know what I mean, we plotting warfare against one another and diabolical, you know what I mean, atrocities against one another when we got an enemy sitting right in front of us. And it's so crazy because, you know what I mean, we can't, you know what I mean, we got an oppressor right in front of us and they watching us, you know what I'm saying, destroy each other. And so now they could blame us. They could tell, well, y'all got to pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. Y'all killing, y'all taking each other's lives, man. Y'all abusing one another. Y'all doing this, that, and the third. And they couldn't, even though they didn't have us in captivity for over 400 years, they can still have the pride to, you know what I mean, they can still have the audacity to look at us and, you know what I mean, act like as if they innocent in this whole thing. It's because we, you know what I mean, and he gonna, you know what I'm saying, your oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of. But right now we gotta get each other together. We gotta get ourselves together as well, man. You know what I mean? Ain't no use of, you know what I mean, we gotta get ourselves together. But that's how we do it, man. We gotta go ahead, man. Be obedient, man. Be obedient. You know what I mean? And, you know what I mean? Go to, and make sure you keep your brotherhood and keep our brotherhood and our sisterhood intact in these last times, man. In these last days. Verse 16, but if we will not hear thee, take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. See, that's the next step right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? You go to your brother, he don't hear you. Okay, no sweat. Then, you know what I'm saying? You take that thing to counsel with witnesses, man. But again, we like to stop right there. You go to that brother and, you know what I mean? You go to that brother and you let him know, you know what I mean? That you go to that brother, you go to that sister, you let them know like, hey, this offended me, this, that, and the third. And a lot of times what we'll do is, you know what I mean? We'll be extremely confrontational or passive aggressive in how we confront one another in our offenses. You know what I mean? Expecting a problem or, and what's the word? Inducing a problem, you know what I mean? One another. Well, this whole time, this brother or this sister don't even know that you offended, but then you come up with all this animosity and he like, well, I ain't know you was offended, but you know what I mean? Well, but you talking to me like this, you know what I mean? Now, I don't give a damn about your offense. That's how we deal with one another. You know what I mean? And that's just so wrong, man. And we don't even realize that with us doing that, we playing right into the hands of our oppressor, man. Right into the hands of our oppressor. And we, you know what I mean? We playing right into the hands of our oppressor, man, and giving him all the ammo in the world to continue to oppress us and keep his knee on our neck and then blame us, all right? But as we already see, again, as we see what's going on, all these, you know what I'm saying, all these things going on, because they fighting amongst one another. They fighting against one another. You know what I mean? Right now it's time for us to get our brotherhood intact, man, and keep our zeal lit with one another. The scriptures say iron sharpen iron, man. So a brother strengthen a brother, man. But if we constantly fighting with one another, man, then now you just got 2 brothers who hate each other, and that's how you see, you know what I mean? That's how you see the repetitive narrative of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You know what I mean? We can't never, you know what I mean, come together and do nothing. We can't never, you know what I mean, this, that, and the third. Let's see where we at. And then this is And this is verse 17, right? And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, this is major council. You know what I mean? You bring it before the entire nation, right? You know what I mean? And that's a sidebar. Church, you know what I'm saying? No Christian church, you know what I mean? They call themselves a church, but they are not a church, man. The church is just, you know what I mean, a gathering of Israelites, man. It's just, you know what I mean, us coming to, you know what I'm saying? It's just a gathering of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. You know what I mean? A gathering of your family. So if your brother don't hear you, your sister don't hear you, you know what I mean? You take it before your family and let the, you know what I'm saying, let that go to major council, man. Let that be established in publicly established so that this thing could get hashed out. But these are all the avenues that was given to us to be able to hash out these issues, and you know what I mean, so that we can stay together and be a family, man. Like, again, like a lot of these issues where we end up, you know what I'm saying, taking one another's lives, man, taking what each other got, you know what I mean, things like that, where we act like we can't mess with one another. We giving each other a cold shoulder at the least and all of that. A lot of these issues stem off of tiny little offenses, man. But right now we got to realize what time it is, man. Like, even your oppressor, you know what I mean? Even your oppressor, they talking about we, you know what I'm saying, you know what I mean, they fighting against one another, but they got a common enemy. So they able to, you know what I mean, they might have to put aside they differences and fight a common enemy. Well, they common enemy is our people, blacks, Hispanics, and Native American. And in a minute, they common enemy about to be the Most High, or it's about to they common enemy about to be Christ when he cracked that sky, and 200 million black angels come down and redeem blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans out of this hell. And they willing to drop everything and come together and, you know what I mean, fight that common enemy. Well, we got to do what's been written in this Bible since the beginning, man. And that's what's going to keep, you know what I mean, that's what's going to keep, you know what I mean, our zeal lit in this hell. And I'm going to tell you why. Better yet, Christ's going to tell you why right here. It says, and if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it to the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, meaning if you neglect to hear the council, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican, huh? See, this is why you got brothers, you know what I mean? This is why you got brothers who, you know what I mean, might come in the door. Well, that's why we got all these, you know what I mean, these Christian Israelite groups, you know what I mean, who broke off of the ISUPK. You got all these different Christian denominations, and you got all these different, you know what I mean, you might have some brothers you got some brothers and sisters who might come through these doors and then, you know what I mean, leave after a while. You know what I mean? You got brothers leaving the truth or sisters leaving the truth. That's why these things happen. It stems with the brotherhood. 9 times out of 10, if a brother or sister leaves the truth, it's because a brother or sister got an offense with another brother or sister, and instead of taking that brother, going to that brother one-on-one and saying, hey, I'm offended, this offended me, we talk amongst ourselves, or we try to handle it by ourselves. We put our, you know what I'm saying, we get all in our head, and we like, oh, this brother ain't nothing, and this, that, and the third. We get the concocting, you know what I'm saying, we get the manufacturing this problem in our head whole time, you know what I mean? And now you hate this brother. Now you hate this sister. So now we can't function with one another. We can't function around one another. So after a while, you know what I mean, brother, you know what I'm saying, this is what happens, you know what I mean? If we don't take things to counsel, we don't deal with these things right now while we got the opportunity to, You know what I mean? Brothers is end up we gonna lose our zeal for the, you know what I'm saying, to serve the Lord. It's not gonna be about serving the Lord no more. It's gonna be about, oh, I ain't trying to come to this brother class because I got an offense with this brother. I ain't trying to hear what this brother talking about. Or I ain't trying to say salakia to this brother. Or I ain't trying to, man, forget that brother. Man, I don't, you know what I mean? I ain't trying to ask this brother for help. You know what I mean? All these different things. That's what it's going to turn to. And then it's going to lead to what it just said in verse 8 or verse 17. Then your brother has to consider you as a heathen man, as a publican, meaning as we have to separate from our oppressor. You know what I mean? They not allowed around us. They not allowed in the school. You know what I mean? They not allowed at our cookouts and at our functions. They not allowed, you know what I mean, around us. That's how we got to look at our brothers, man. After, you know what I'm saying, if we can't resolve these issues, we can't resolve these small matters in obedience. You know what I mean? You can't just simply take a brother to counsel. You can't simply Matthew 18:15 a brother. Or if you found to be wrong, or, you know what I mean, things don't go quite in your favor, you can't just swallow your pride and just say salakia, you know what I mean, for the sake of brotherhood. Then that's what it's going to be, man. And that's the thing. Like, that's what we got to realize. Like, if it come to that as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, if it comes to that, you know what I mean, when we try to Matthew 18:15 one another, we try to hash out these problems, and we stubborn in trying to deal with our problems with one another, then once you know what I'm saying, it's only a matter of time before you pack up and leave the truth. And you know what I mean, as much as we love our brothers and sisters, you know what I mean, if a brother or a sister leave the truth because of an offense, because they refuse to be obedient to what the blueprint that Christ just laid down in Matthew 18 verse 15, then you know what I mean, that's just on that, you know what I'm saying, that's just on you. And you know what I mean, a brother, no matter how much we love one another, no matter how much we might you know what I mean, no matter how much we might hate for a brother or a sister to fall up out of the truth, man, you fall up out of this truth, man, especially in these times, then you know what I'm saying, it ain't really nothing that we could do for you, man. Like, we can't put you on that chariot. We can't, you know what I mean, we can't force Christ to have mercy on you when he come back and wreak vengeance on this earth for the wicked ways that they done dealt with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and how our people cleave to them. You know what I mean? We can't, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's just what that is. All right, so that's what we gotta really prioritize. We gotta prioritize making sure, you know what I mean, we checking ourselves, keep making sure our zeal is lit, making sure our candlestick is lit when Christ come. And if it's not, you know what I mean, if we gotta alt with one another, or we got any issues, you know what I mean, we're gonna keep that zeal lit by keeping his brotherhood intact, man. You know what I mean? Let's see. But we gonna keep our zeal lit by keeping his brotherhood intact, and we keep this brotherhood intact through obedience. It's so important, man. It's so important. It's so important that we really, you know what I mean, that we be obedient to, you know what I mean, the things that's written in this Bible, man. The structure that's set in place, the provisions, the law, statutes, the commandments that's in this Bible to keep us intact, man. Because if we're going to continue to be obedient children, we already know what happens to obedient children or disobedient children. Disobedient children, you know what I mean, after a while, after they get, you know what I'm saying, too big for their britches, they get a little, you know what I'm saying, older, they thinking they grown. Disobedient children got to leave the house, man. Let's see. Salakia, let's get Ecclesiasticus real quick. Salakia. Ecclesiasticus chapter 4. You know what I mean? And it's gonna be so. This is so important right now. Like, we don't even understand what's going on around us, man. We don't even understand what's going on around us and how important, you know what I mean, how important it is for us to come together and stay together. You know what I mean? How important it is for us to be able to, you know what I mean, work through things, be obedient to, you know what I mean, to the men above us. Be, you know what I'm saying, be obedient to the things that's in these scriptures, how we should maintain this brotherhood. All right. And a big part of brotherhood also, you know what I mean, we Matthew 18:15 and one another. We making sure this brotherhood intact, and we making sure we hashing out problems and small issues that we got amongst each other. You know what I mean? A big part of brotherhood also is being, you know what I mean, being obedient to the men above us, because we get full of that pride. You know what I mean? We get full of that pride, right? Or we, you know what I mean? We get, you know what I mean? In this truth, you know what I mean? We get checked, we get corrected, we get chastised, we get told we can't do certain things, we get restricted, you know what I mean? All of those things. And sometimes we don't even realize that that's for our own good. But what we got to understand is, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It might hurt for a second. It might be uncomfortable for a second to get told no, to get told you can't do a certain thing, to be told you can't say this, you can't say this, or you can't say that, you can't say this, you can't, I mean, whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, man, again, we got to trust the Lord and understand that the brothers in this truth that was set above us for a reason, man. And the only way that we gonna understand, you know what I mean, the only way that we gonna be able to, you know what I mean, see this through to the end, you know what I mean, endure to the end, is to, you know what I mean, just follow these instructions, man. Follow these instructions and go through the proper paths to, you know what I mean, to brotherhood and to justice, you know what I mean? Because even amongst ourselves, right? You know what I mean? We going to have problems. We not going to always agree with the things that we told, right? We not going to always be, you know what I mean? We not going to always agree with things, but we got to make sure we, you know what I mean, following the proper channels, because, you know what I mean, like the scriptures say, man, like the scriptures say, we can't, you know what I mean, we get upset at one another. We can't, you know what I mean, take things upon ourselves and, you know what I mean, just add sin to sin and, you know what I mean, sin because, or transgress the Most High, sin against the Most High because we angry with a brother or a sister. You know what I mean? We got to go through the proper channels, you know what I mean, so that we can see this thing through to the end. All right? Let's see, we got Ecclesiastes. Actually, let me get, let me see. Lock you. All right, Slacky, bear with me 1 second. Yeah, man. Yeah, in these end times, it's so important that we keep this brotherhood intact, man. Cause it's so crazy. You know what I mean? It's so crazy. It's so crazy. Like, you know what I mean? that we got this oppressor over us, and we know that we got this common enemy. We know that, you know what I mean, our oppressor been feeding us lies and keeping us docile for so many years, you know what I mean, keeping us oppressed for so many years and ripping, you know what I mean, ripping us down from, you know what I mean, destroying our businesses and destroying our families and destroying our households. But, you know what I mean, in the midst of that, you know what I mean, in the midst of that, we can't, you know what I mean, we can't come together and, you know what I mean, hash out our issues, right? We can't take correction. We can't take instruction, right? But the entire time, you know what I mean, the entire time we can't, you know what I mean, the entire time, right? We've been leaning on ourselves, man. We've been leaning on what we believe to be right and what we believe to be true, what we think we should be doing, how we think we should be handling our issues, and you know what I mean, who we should listen to, who we should trust, and who we shouldn't trust. We've been leaning to ourselves for all this time, and the whole time, you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Where's that gotten us, man? I mean, we need one another, man. We need to be able to lean on one another, and you know what I mean. We need to be able to lean on one another and get guidance and wisdom from one another. You know what I mean? And the Most High set up a structure for us to have that, man. It's right here in the ISUPK, man. And it ain't no use for us to, you know what I mean, just endure and suffer with one another and you know what I mean, endure with one another and you know what I mean, put in all this diligence with one another all this time, and now that we right there at the finish line, we right there, well, that's slacky, I ain't gonna say finish line, but we right there, you know what I mean, where our oppressors is, you know what I'm saying, they fighting amongst themselves, we right there, you know what I mean, and just drop out now where things is starting to wind up. All right, you know what I'm saying, we done put in, you know what I mean, all this, you know what I'm saying, all this energy, all this time, you know what I mean. Let's go ahead and, you know what I mean, just stick this out with one another to the end, man. Because our kingdom is up next, man. We got to have a cohesive culture, right? A cohesive culture and have a cohesive society. And our culture is right here in these scriptures, man. All right. Let me see what we got going on in this chat. All right, but if there's no questions or comments, all right, we're gonna go ahead and salute out with that. All right. But with that being said, man, you know what I mean, right now it is time, you know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, let's get Romans right quick. Romans chapter 13, verse 11, man. So lock you. All right, so this is the book of Romans chapter 13, verse 11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. See, what we got to understand, like, is, again, there's no other, like, right now, it is high time for us to understand, it's time for us to understand what's going on, man. and that what's going on around us is bigger than, you know what I mean, these tiny discrepancies that we have with one another. You know what I mean? These tiny what's it called, offenses that we have with one another. You know what I mean? All these different things that's keeping us from keeping this brotherhood intact, man. And keeping us from, you know what I mean, keeping us from keeping our zeal lit, man. Right? So we gotta understand that right now it's time for us to, right now it's high time for us to wake up out of this sleep, man. Wake up out of this sleep that's got us hating one another, got us beefing with one another, got us you know what I mean, thinking that we could, you know what I'm saying, get it some other way other than the way that the Most High told us to you know what I mean, to get up out of this hell, man. Cause right now it says, it's like, and now it is high time to wake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. Because right now our salvation is nearer than what we believe. You know what I mean? We think that we got time. We always in the world, you know what I'm saying? We always talking about, we think we got time. You know what I mean? We got time, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Gather together. We got time to, you know what I mean? Hash out, you know what I mean, problems with one another. We got time to this, that, and the third, you know what I mean? But right now, you know what I mean, this is winding up. Like we've been talking about all night. It's winding up. And our time is nearer than what we, you know what I'm saying, the time we think we got, it ain't, you know what I'm saying, we really ain't got that type of time. You know what I mean? So let's, you know what I'm saying, with that, let's go ahead and, you know what I mean, let's go ahead and keep these relationships intact, man. Come together, you know what I mean? Go through the proper avenues and the proper channels to, you know what I'm saying, keep this brotherhood intact, right? So that we can take our rightful place as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and rule over this earth righteously. Or if that, you know what I mean, if we ain't got any more questions or comments in the chat, I'm say I Majin, which means to stand. We give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Individual Majin Shabbat. I Majin, Barak, Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakathum, Yajim Matah. Say Sar, turn face the sisters. Go give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Individual Majin Shabbat. I Majin, Barak, Yahweh Shemar Latham Bashem Yahushua. Yajim Matah. Dismiss.